What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster-in-chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you with another Weatherlight Compleated brew. I'm on this quest. To find the best possible home for this card because I really enjoy playing with it. We've already had a good look at Orzhov a couple days back. If you don't remember, go have a look. The video is on the channel. Yesterday we had a little budget brew episode. Now I'm back on the quest, and I've settled on Boros as my personal favorite combination, and there's a very good reason for that, which I will get to at the end of the video, because this is a kind of, I didn't want to call it an episode of brewing with, because I will not be playing with the other versions, but we will be diving into them at the end of the video, just to discuss why it is that I think that even though they look like really good decks on paper, they're not matching up well with the meta right now. And then, you know, that'll also explain the reasoning why I've settled on Boros as potentially the best potential home for Weatherlight Compleated. And so, without further ado, let's jump into tonight's brew. Completed tokens. Wow, so much fun with this one. Absolutely loving it. I've gone through various permutations, and we will discuss those as well as I get through the deck tech. The initial version, instead of running 4 Lunarch Veterans, was running 4 of this guy, the Iron Apprentice. And instead of Flame Blessed Bolt and Strangle, it was running 4 Voltage Surges, which require you to sacrifice an artifact to deal 4 damage for 1 mana. And I was sacrificing the Iron Apprentice to deal the damage. And then, you know, you get to also put a little +1/+1 counter somewhere from the Iron Apprentice, which wasn't a terrible move either. So we might end up going back to that. But what prompted this change was, you know, because we're producing many creature tokens almost every single turn, having a Lunarch Veteran on the battlefield can be a very important source of life gain. But it is also just a 1/1 that gets removed almost straight away every time you play it. So we may end up going back to the previous version. But for now, let's test this one out. I mean, this is, after all, the BrewLab. We are testing things. We are in the lab, mixing, matching, adding, removing, creating new concoctions. And yeah, like I said, we may end up going back for that. But instead of the Voltage Surge, I've gone for a split between Flame Blessed Bolt and Strangle, kind of getting a little bit of the best of both worlds. Like, Flame Blessed Bolt is instant speed, and I like the Exile because of, you know, Tenacious Underdog and other things like that. And then Strangle deals a little bit extra damage, but is sorcery speed. I don't know. Again, we may end up going back to the previous setup, but for now, again, let's test this out. Then we've got a couple of Fateful Absences. I kind of stacked all the removal in one little row here. A couple of Fateful Absence, just a clean removal. Any creature, any planeswalker, you don't have to worry about mana or whatever. It's just 2 mana, boom, the thing's gone. Then we've got 3 Lantern Flares because we're making, I mean, I've had board states where I have like 5, 6, 7 creatures on the battlefield, so the ability to gain 7 life and deal 7 damage to a creature or planeswalker for 2 mana is just too good to pass up. We've already seen this recently in my Boros Soldiers deck. Here it is again in this version, and I'm, again, absolutely loving this card. And then Banishing Slash, and this is going back to what I said earlier in the introduction with regards to the meta and the other color combinations that I've been testing with Weatherlight Compleated, not quite matching up. And the reason for that is Selesnya Enchantments, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if you haven't noticed, it's freaking everywhere. It's the second top deck in the meta share in terms of win rates, you name it. It's right back up there. There's been some big adjustments to the list. People running Rite of Harmony to draw cards with, and all these. It's taken on a new form, and it's really strong. I get beaten very often if I'm not playing a deck that runs enchantment removal. And so it is the reason why you've seen Destroy Evil being such a, you know, main deckable, especially in best of one card of late. And so if you're not running enchantment removal, I think you should really start considering it. And that is the reasoning behind Banishing Slash. Because for 2 mana, if you get the full value from this card, it's actually bonkers. I mean, you can either destroy an artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature. So 3 potential targets. And if you control an artifact and an enchantment, which we have plenty of, then you also make a 2/2 samurai. Wowza. So, yeah, that's. I mean, I might even go up to a 4 of. I'm that convinced that this is actually great in the shell. That isn't the end of our removal. There's also a full playset of Burn Down the House, but I'm kind of keeping this on a separate row because it is both removal and a token creator, which is kind of what we're trying to do in the deck. It's just perfect Burn Down the House, and a good reason for that I'll get to shortly. But onto our vehicles. We've got 3 Bankbusters for drawing some cards, and 2 Unlicensed Hearsts for dealing with opponents that are playing some kind of graveyard shenanigans, reanimator decks. There's plenty of them all over the place, and even if you're not running into a reanimator deck, you can still just exile stuff from a graveyard and end up with a really easy to crew big attacker in the late game. And then of course the whole reason why we've even built this deck is 3 copies of Weatherlight Compleated. So talking about synergies with Burn Down the House, and in general a sweeper, whenever you're playing Weatherlight Completed and you're forced into one of those situations where your opponent's board is full of big bad creatures and planeswalkers and things, and you're worried that your board isn't going to quite match up to theirs, and you need to pull the trigger and sweep it up, Weatherlight Completed is still not a creature at this point. And all you have on the battlefield are little 2/2, 3/3s, depending on how many wedding festivities you have. Human tokens. Who cares? Those are just tokens. You're going to be making more anyway from Stensia Uprising and potentially other copies of Wedding Announcements. So you sweep the board. Great. At that point, you've probably already chump blocked with 1 or 2 of your little human tokens. And your Weatherlight Completed might already have 1 or 2 Phyresis counters on them. You sweep the board, the opponent is left with nothing, but at that point your Weatherlight Completed becomes a creature and you can swing in for 5. You know, being left with a 5/5 flyer after a board wipe and the opponent is left with nothing is obviously a very, very good situation to be in. But then, you know, the versatility, if you need to make 3 devils instead, great, because oftentimes with a couple wedding festivities on the battlefield, they come into play as 3/3s or 2/2 devils with haste that also die and deal damage to any target. Amazing, amazing, amazing card in this list. It's fitting absolutely perfectly. And then we move on to our token producers. We've got a full place of the Wedding Announcement, one of the most played cards in Standard, and for good reason. It can draw you cards, it buffs your whole squad, it makes a, you know, little human guy return for 3 turns, all round just amazing. And then a full playset of Stensia Uprising, which will create a 1/1 red human creature token at the beginning of your end step every single turn. But if you reach exactly 13 permanents on your battlefield, you can also sacrifice it and deal 7 damage to any target. And that has come up more often than you'd think. And the 7 damage is pretty good because of things like, you know, Titan of Industry and other big threats like the new ape guy in mono green or whatever. There's lots of like these big buff 7/7 things that you need to kill, and you may have already been, you know, out of Fateful Absences or whatever. So it does come up, and of course you can go face as well, so don't forget that. We've already talked about Burn Down the House enough, so I think that is it as far as the deck is concerned. We've got a couple of Eiganjos, a couple of Sokenzans, 3 Mech Hangars, of course, to crew all of our vehicles, even if they don't have pilots. I've been more and more running this Crystal Grotto, gone with the 2 of. The Scry is really nice, and then you can sometimes fix your mana with it, but you do need to pay an additional 1 colorless to add a mana of any color. Then 3 Wind-Scarred Crags, because Boros doesn't have a pain land, but a little bit of life gain doesn't hurt. 4 Sundown Pass, and 8 basics. That's the deck. Let's jump into some games. Going to be taking this one for a spin on the Mythic Ladder, of course. And as usual at this point in my videos is when I like to do a tiny little bit of self-promotion. So if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, kindly consider doing so. You could also like the video, leave a comment, share it around to all your friends, hit the bell notification icon. All of those things really help me out and are absolutely free. So thank you for doing so. Alright, not the best opening hand, but I shall keep it. Sunk down to 85 today, testing all kinds of jank, and the Selesnya guys were just shredding me. This is why I'm thinking the other card is better. Too soon. We need red, man. We need red. But okay. I don't know why I kept that actually, but... He's probably going to play out his werewolf guy, the trespasser, and exile our veteran. Aha! Okay, so this is definitely a Liliana deck. Opponent seems to be having a little bit of mana problems as well. Pity that. Was gearing up to be an interesting match, I think, but opponent decides to scoop things up. On to the next one. Hopefully we actually draw some red sources. I'm thinking I may actually just quick little brew labification on the fly for you guys. One less grotto. How are we doing here? It's 44, 33. And if I hit the auto land tapper guy thing, okay, it puts the mountains up to 5. Let's go with what they recommend. I'm surprised. There's more white pips, but there's more cards with double red, so I put an additional red source in instead of a white one there. Sure. It's okay. I think we're gonna go back to the other configuration. The veteran is good for the life gain, but we can just rely on the other card, the lantern flare for our life gain. Werewolf trespasser guy thing. Underdog. Now would be a great time to draw a now would be a great time to draw. The bolt. I'm thinking about making some tokens, but now we need the 5th land for the burn on the house. So let's just go with Strangle and the 2nd wedding announcement. Of course, Meatook Massacre is a big problem right now. Interesting. I think I'm going to take it. I want as many tokens as possible. Meatook is still a problem right now. Oh yes, baby. Oh, baby. Bye-bye now. Off you go. Mr. Mono Black. That Shieldred was dealt with so beautifully. Lantern Flare, just mwah, chef's kiss. Oh, wait. Wait. I think I'm gonna go. Oh, okay. One more match like this. I'm gonna go back to the Iron Apprentice and Voltage Surge combo. It's less of a removal target. I feel like every time I play out the little guy, I just get removed straight away. Okay, that's a mulligan for sure. Perfect. Perfect. Grixis. This is currently the top deck in best of 3. Grixis mid-ranges. Here comes the Fable. No Fable. Does that mean he's holding up the bloody counter spell here? Okay, thank goodness. Definitely didn't want to get our wedding announcement counter spelled there. Oh. How boring. How boring. Dear Lord. I really don't know how we're going to get around this. Game over. Just got completely destroyed there. disgusting. Grixis is wowza, like up there as far as the meta is concerned. But again, a color combination that doesn't run enchantment removal, I think is, in the best of one, going to be struggling very hard right now against Selesnya. And there's just so much of it that I don't feel comfortable playing, or, you know, recommending that any of you really play it seriously. In best of 3, it's a different story. You can go check out the stats yourselves on Untapped. It's up there. It's number 1. Cool. Here we go. Enemy number 1 detected. This is the older version that's running the visitors. A little bit of luck, never hurt nobody. Hallowed Haunting, perhaps. Oh, the Splendor. Feeling pretty good so far. Of course. Wow. A version of this deck that runs a sweeper? Would not have thought that a thing. Get stuffed, mate. Get stuffed. Not even needing our enchantment removal there. Perhaps getting a little lucky. Definitely not the typical list. People are trying to innovate. It's still a little bit open-ended. If you guys don't know who Chris Bathello is, go and give him a follow on YouTube, Twitter. He's, you know, professional. He's in the pro. He's played many big events and things, and his version of Selesnya enchantments that is out there right now is fan-freaking-tastic. Like, really top-notch. I keep forgetting to take out the veteran. I promise I'll remember next match. Here we go. Cut down on the veteran. No? Okay. Surprising. Would love a third land now, though. Okay. Okay. Third land detected. Do we go for the 4th? I think so. Corpse. I see short of corpse. I get the feeling he's got things like eaten, what's it called? Eaten alive. Something like sacrifice one of your creatures, exile another thing. Maybe it's braids. Sure. So far so good. Holding up the bolt, potentially draw some cards off of the Bankbuster. Oh, baby, yes. Double Stensia. That just doesn't get any better, really. Now we're again in Meatook Massacre problem range, however. So fingers crossed. But double Stensias, just bring on the Meatook. We've got creature tokens coming your way like there's no tomorrow. Okay. Do we? Yeah, I think we get rid of the Stensia, unfortunately. Because we've got another. I kind of liking this. Extra little buff on my little tokens. Not sure why you'd attack. Yeah, that's what I thought. I never get sick of seeing a 5/5 Bankbuster because of wedding announcement. Just, again. Le chef's kiss is very good. And then these guys are not going to be very persistent. I'm afraid. Bye-bye. Not going to sacrifice my Stensia, I'm afraid. Not this time. Maybe now the Meatook would be pretty annoying. Okay. This time we're going for the wedding announcement, I'm afraid to say. Let's draw a card. Maybe the Lunarch Veterans, not so bad? Question mark, question mark. You're kidding me with this shit, man. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Third invoke. Back to back. Gross. Just gross. I think I got you. I can crew this for 3. Another one for 2. That'll be 4, 5, 6, 7. No, not quite there. Unbelievable. 3 Invoke Despairs in the top 10 cards of his library or something. It's just... Aha! Field of Ruin is interesting, because you can kill our Mech Hangar. Very problematic, because the Meathook's probably coming next turn. But I didn't want to put my Unlicensed Hearst in the way of any problematic sort of things. Down to 4. Please no Meathook. Please no Meathook. That is wow insane. Bonkers level insane. He's already played a land, so he still can't Meathook us. That's gonna be a GG. But like, wow. 4 invokes. Thanks, Shuffler. That was really quite insane. Bloody card. Too strong. Potentially even ban-worthy IMO. Bye-bye. Seems like the last couple days, like testing Weatherlight, whenever I jump in front of the camera, we don't draw it ever. And it's like the whole point of these videos is to showcase that card, and then we just never top deck it, even though there's 3 of them in the damn deck. But anyway. Let's make that adjustment, even though I was really enjoying having that. The veteran, the Lunarch Veteran. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, guys. What do you think? And then between these two, gosh, I really can't make up my mind. It's like if you don't play against black with cut down, then it's fine. So let's just keep it and hope not to run into too many more mono black opponents. The numbers are starting to pewter off a little bit. It's not as bad as the first week of the meta. It was like every second match. Now it's a little bit less. Yay. I should just keep my mouth shut. This is where Flame Blessed Bolt is just mwah, delicioso. Cut that. Werewolf Trespasser, man, dude, thing. Why do that? I never understand why people do that. And we need our lands, please. Just gaining some life. Actually, oh my god. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh god, what am I doing? What am I doing? What was that? That was a full-on misplay. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I could cancel the cast, but it would... if the ward trigger goes off already, then it's too late. Thanks, deck. We needed a land there. We needed more than one land. Quite a few turns back. How are we doing for time? Alright. That was horrible. I'm so sorry, man. That was just a complete and utter mistake. These things happen. They happen more when I'm talking on camera than when I'm playing by myself. I think a little less. I should try and remedy that. I recommend that you all give it a try at some point. Like, spend a bit of time talking to yourself while playing and see if it, you know, what it does to your gameplay. Another black deck. Mental. Just non-stop. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Cool. Maybe it's Mardu? Which is quite terrifying if it is. That other angel is something else. Enough lands now, deck. Thank you. They seem to be bricking just a tiny bit. No complaints from my side. Oh, wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. Token-tastic, baby! We got another one next turn. Woohoo! It's kind of starting to wish there were a few things that ended up in graveyards for my unlicensed hearse to gobble up. Oh. Oh. Okay, I'm thinking to stick with the veteran, honestly. That's just way too sweet. Next turn we swing in. Okay, poor guy. No lands. We flooded a bit, but we're still able to sneak out a victory. Still no Weatherlight. I think we've had it on board once, and we haven't transformed it once. This is the streamer's curse. It happens more often than I care to admit. Like, You make this whole deck based around a card, and then you play like 7 games in front of the camera, and you don't see the card once the whole time. It's uncanny. Like, but hey, variance, right? Lord Trown. Lord Trone. Trone? We need a 3rd land, then it's pretty sweet, but otherwise it's kind of trash. Double white, only white and red. No 3rd land for the announcement. We're on the play. I mean, we're on the draw. Maybe we mull this one. Weatherlight. Oh, believe it or not. Crystal Grotto. Oh, okay. This is public enemy number 1. We beat them first time. Hopefully we're not quite as unlucky this time around. No. Nope. I want wedding announcement off the top next turn. Restoration of Eiganjo. Fairly certain. Or they might try Borrowed Time or Weatherlight, which is also fine, I guess. Or touch. Oh, the deck licence. It's very good. I'm very, very happy. Lining up quite nicely so far. However, they run loads of these types of spells. Yeah. Snore away, my friend. Nah. Yes. Ladies and gents, still not really showcasing Weatherlight, but Stensia Uprising, burn down the house, wedding announcement, match made in heaven. How are we doing for time? All right. It's a pity, but we are going to have to call it a night. Climbed back up nicely. We started on 85. A couple of disappointing losses. But all in all, a very strong performance. Loving the deck. Did not get to showcase Weatherlight. I guess it's just sort of in there as like, it's not the main win con by any stretch of the imagination. It's just there to potentially be a nice thing in the deck. But otherwise, the real meat and potatoes is this little package over here, which I recommend you give a whirl on the ladder, because it's yeah, go check out my Untapped. The win rates speak for themselves. As far as the decision with regards to Lunarch Veteran, I think we've settled on Lunarch Veteran. There was a few matches there where the life gain was invaluable. And also, you know, once you've got a couple of wedding festivities and it becomes like a 3/3 flyer when you cast the Luminous Phantom, it's also nice to have a flyer other than the Weatherlight in the deck. So, I think we're going to stick with that. As far as the decision between Flame Blessed Bolt and Strangle, we didn't really get to see many of them in our hands at any point during the match. So it might be just best to stick to a 4 of one or the other. And that you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments about. But Lantern Flare, just amazing, coming in so clutch there in lots of those matches. But as promised, I'm going to just dive into the other versions so you have some ideas. And the reason why I'm not enjoying them or, getting as high win rates with them as with the Boros version is because of Selesnya enchantments, black and red. And okay, so in the Jund one, there's some enchantment removal I've tried to slot in. This is why I started with Anvil and ended up in Jund, because I needed enchantment removal. And the Jund one has got some potential. We may do a full video on this one. But we'll start off with the obvious one. When everybody first saw Weatherlight Compleated, they were like, okay, this is meant to go in an Anvil deck. And we may do a full video on this one as well if Selesnya enchantments pewters off a little bit. But it's your typical Oni Cult Anvil deck with all the usual cards that go in your Oni Cult Anvil deck. Your Meathook Massacres, your Voltage Surges, your Experimental Synthesizers, your Blood Path Harvester. All of these things are like pretty much stock standard Anvil deck material. But we've got the Weatherlight, so whenever we do the thing with the construct and we're sacking the construct to make another construct, and every time you're putting a trigger on Weatherlight, and then eventually you get to swing in. We've got the Mech Hangars as always, we've got some Bankbusters, we get to run some really powerful Planeswalkers, the best card in Standard. I also managed to sneak in a sneaky copy of Braids, which is also great with the Weatherlight and the Anvil and all of that. And this version, if it wasn't for the number of times that I've run into Selesnya, it's just actually a really, really freaking sweet brew. So I will not leave this in the comments. You'll have to just feast your eyes, pause the video now if you want to copy it. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for me to do the full video on this one. I also really like the addition of a sneaky one of Voldaren Estate as a way to make artifacts that no one seems to be doing. We do have a vampire in the deck, so or two, so the cost can also be reduced a little bit, and you can make a blood token just with one of your lands. When you're just desperate for that artifact to sack to the Anvil and you're just not top decking them. I haven't seen anybody putting this little bit of tech in their versions of Oni Cult Anvil. But that's it as far as the Rakdos version. And Jund the Light is completely different, can of worms. Kind of picking a few bits and pieces from the Orzhov version that I had with the Cult Conscript and Tenacious Underdog as our recursive threats that can be sacrificed. We drawing cards with the Reckoner's Bargain. We've got Grisly Sigil to deal some damage and gain life, which has been really nice. We get to run Tear Asunder, which deals with enchantments, and we get to run Unleash the Inferno, which deals with enchantments, which is my nod to the meta right now. But then the rest is just playing out like a mid-rangey Jund deck that just isn't going for the Gix, Reanimation, Titan of Industry package, but trying to turn on the Weatherlight more than anything. And so, the anything with casualty is obviously good in that scenario. The fact that the War Chief can be sacked and you still get a Rhino out of it is great in this scenario. This one is a very early version, done very little testing. There's still some things that I think we could change, but also another very interesting brew that you could expand upon yourselves. And if you do, as always, please let me know in the comments your thoughts. But that is going to be it for tonight's episode, and I hope you all enjoyed the gameplay footage. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all tomorrow with another fresh brew, and until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.